Greatness Podcast with Jason and Jolene.
And we are back with the Into Greatness Podcast with Jason and Jolene. Clearly, I am Jolene.
I am confused.
No, I am Jason.
I wish you were me, because that would mean I'd have a clone finally.
Right? We all would like that. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Just to have someone there
Clones
to help
of
you
me?
out. Yeah. Or me even. Whatever works, right?
Some would hate that.
And others would be like, cool.
Oh, where are my haters at? All right, there we go.
So last week we talked film, television, and books. And how they relate to like us and help define us, help us through tough times, etc. And now the logical transition, we're going to talk about music. And now, Jolene, there are like literally papers and studies and all sorts of stuff like that about how music is so good for the brain.
Yeah, it accesses our right brain. So we have a whole brain, believe it or not, and half of it, which we learned in the last episode, is very organized and logical and word reading, mathematics based. That is our left brain. That was Jason with his list. Then we have a right brain, which is influenced by music and movement and sensory things, smells and sights and feels, including emotions and all of that. Our right side is responsible for that part. So as you're watching something, your brain's just taking it in. Oh, that's a black car. That is, a rainy sidewalk. But the music is what inputs what it means.
And it's kind of, all right. And that's a good example.
Singing in the rain.
Right? When John Carpenter screened Halloween for
Yeah.
different studio executives, he hadn't finished the music yet.
Yeah.
And he remembers the guy at Fox. He tells the story where they put the movie on and the guy's like, this isn't scary. What the heck's the matter with this? This is going to go nowhere. He put the music in
Yeah.
and it terrified people.
Yes, that. Because
Right?
it actually integrates our entire brain, and then we go, oh shit, and we can make more meaning of
Yeah.
it because our whole brain is present. It's interesting because a guy that I graduated with, he's Polish. He's got the coolest story. I reconnected with him on social media, like I think when I was trying to plan our 20th reunion, and he was down in LA, or is, Conrad Old Money. Check him out, folks. And he actually creates music for video games.
Oh, beautiful.
And there's an entire psychology behind it. Yeah. So I'm trying to think which ones. I'm sorry, Conrad. I don't know which ones he does. But he's a big deal.
That's
He's a
huge.
big deal.
Yeah.
And he's gone big on quite a few of his releases and stuff. But I was like, that is something like, man, you're cap class. Like, who says they're going to be like a music producer to influence this and that, right? Like, this was a guy who used to break dance on cardboard at
That's
Riverside
awesome.
Park, right? Like,
I probably saw him do that.
Right? Like, just
Yep.
so cool. So, it was like, I was like, that's a career I never even knew existed, right? But that is such a huge piece, is the psychology behind, the colors we use in places, right? That's very sensory related. The music we use in places, all of that. I talk about this a lot. I recently did this in the memorial post for my dad's deathversary, is music, right? Music we choose to play at certain events, our weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs. I don't know.
If you go to them, right? That's
I
a
don't
thing.
even
It's a thing.
They can like make or break you. So there's this one song, Because You Love Me by Celine Dion, fucking cripples me every time because it literally takes me back. I obviously haven't done EMDR around that one specific issue, but it'll take me back to when I heard it at the funeral and that feeling I had at that time. It'll buckle my knees in a grocery store. Yeah.
Yeah,
still.
some songs will do that. Like,
Yeah,
they
because
just-
I haven't intentionally processed through that one, but yeah, that song like will bring me back, like whoosh. And I think I like that because I think sometimes when we can process so much of our grief, sometimes I like the raw moment to know it's still tangible. It's still there. So I actually think I probably protect healing that one for that reason. I like that rush of rawness that still feels like connection there. There we go. I just put that connection together. So for yourself, Jay, what are some pieces of musical influence? And again, these are eras of our life. We talked about that last week, is like, you can have 3 generations. Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. There was like a grandpa, a dad, and like teenagers. And I was like, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because these are, well, especially for those bands like them or the Stones that have been around for like ever, right? Yeah. For me, like, when I was trying to think, because I asked you to come up with like, say 10 songs, and I picked sort of say 10 songs. It was like figuring out what I want to go with. It was an interesting mix of stuff because there's like old stuff and there's new stuff. And I'm like you sort of said, wow, it depends sort of on a time of your life and things like that. So I tried to pick stuff that I think is kind of timeless.
Yeah.
That way. I mean, one of them is the song Rock You by Helix, which, is it a great song? Not really, right? It was a popular song. But I remember coming home, grade 7, I'd get home by like 3 o'clock from school. 3:30, there was video hits. This is when music videos were just starting, right?
Yeah, right.
It was changed music completely. So I'd put it on, and Rock You would come on like every day because it was in the top 10. It's a Canadian, Helix is a Canadian band. And it was just like, up to that point, I listened to like, pop music and really like, mainstream stuff. But this was like metal.
Sweet.
And it was rebellious, right? And the guys had long hair and there was like boobies in the videos, which was like,
ding, ding, ding. We found it. We know
Sets
why.
things off, right?
Yep.
But it changed everything. I remember not begging, making my mom buy the album, which was Walking the Razor's Edge. And every song on that album is gold.
Wow.
But that changed music. And my parents hated it, which that adds to it even more because it was like heavy metal, right? But I mean, the song, you've probably heard it. It's like that, give me an R, oh. It's just so good. And I still will listen to it sometimes.
And you learned how to spell.
And I spell, at least Rock You, I learned how to spell.
Middle finger.
Right?
Rock you very much.
Right? So that was a big changer, because after that, my musical taste completely changed.
Oh, crazy.
Completely changed.
That like unleashed the freak in you.
Yeah, the freak, the rebel.
Cool.
The bad boy. It was fantastic.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a big one.
Hairbanger Jay.
Hairbanger.
He's still his hero, guys.
I am again for the first time in 20 years, probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Aging rocker.
There you go.
What else? Another one which was back from the same era is Mental Health by Quiet Riot.
I have not.
Do you remember the roller rink era?
Yes, we had one here.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That way. No one can see this, but I remember we'd all go there on school trips.
Oh, yeah.
And this is by Quiet Riot. And this is one of the songs I think that would get played, as you go around, bang your head. And recently, because I have satellite radio and I listen to Ozzy's Boneyard, because that's all the kind of music I like, this song's being played a lot.
Crazy. So that's taking you back to that time. How old were you?
Ooh, that'd be elementary school when they do that kind of stuff.
And it would be a Friday night thing. You
Friday night thing.
Or like Sally there.
Yeah.
Or
whoever was around, right?
Yeah.
And so that was it. But it's just like the lyrics, like what is it? That it really hit me now listening to it. It's like, well, I'm frustrated, outdated. I really want to be overrated. I'm a finder and I'm a keeper. I'm not a loser and I ain't no weeper. I got the boys to make the noise. We'll never let up. Hope it annoys you. Join the pack. Fill the crack. Well, now you're here. There's no way back.
Crazy.
Just love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does that speak to this current version?
Oh, a lot.
Too? Yeah.
A lot, right? So it's interesting.
Sometimes I think our younger self knows things about our future that we don't know yet and really connects to some of those
I
things.
think so. And that kind of seemed to bring a lot of that out.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's another one. What else have we got here? This is from the song is called "Tonight Is What It Means to Be Young" by Fire Inc. and it's from the Streets of Fire soundtrack. I mentioned Streets of Fire.
Okay. Yes, this is why, because that one made you feel good.
Oh yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just that kind of a song, and it's the whole album's like that. But this is like I think my favorite track on the album.
Okay.
And it's literally it sums up the movie because no one in the movie is like over 25.
Yeah.
So it's all young people, and it all takes place at night, and it's just about being young and being wild and in love and just making the most of life. And that's what I really like about that song.
Cool.
So even now that I'm 52, that song takes me back to feeling like a younger person again, right?
I like that.
Which you need more and more as you get older, trust me, folks.
Oh my God. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you have on there?
I got a bunch of stuff.
What about current day? What is a current day song that's been hitting you?
Nothing, by a band called Nothing More.
Yeah.
The song is called Fade In, Fade Out.
Ooh.
And it's interesting. It starts off being a son realizing his father's getting old. Mm-hmm. And then as the song goes on, it's the father talking about the son, about how to kind of remember him.
Yeah.
So as someone who we both lost our dads, it resonates. And it's just, where's like the one bit here? I have watched you fade in. You will watch me fade out. When the grip leaves my hand, I know you won't let me down. Go and find your way. Leave me in your wake. Always push through the pain and don't run away from change. Never settle. Make your mark. Hold your head up. Follow your heart.
That makes you emotional.
Yeah.
I love that. That, you guys, feel that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that I could give life advice to Griffin, which I have repeatedly.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Wow. Those are the songs. Like, which are the songs that hit you in the feels and you're just like, fuck, I can't. That right there.
Yeah.
It literally is words. I've had this come up quite a few times. I know that this has been something in my life. So this is very relevant for right now. Jordan Davis, for God's sake, I have been loving his music for the last 5 years, really during the time of the start of my separation. It was like every song that would come out of his was almost like this soundtrack to my life for a period of time.
Yep.
So it was almost like, oh my God, his next song came out. Holy shit, it's so aligned with where I'm at, right? Well, now this concert's coming. I bought tickets a year ago. He's coming to Kelowna. My kid has a hockey tournament in Vernon. And I'm like, how do I make this work? No, I'll wait until see his game schedule. This is literally 6 days away, guys. And sure enough, my son plays at 6:15 on Saturday night and the concert starts at 7 in Kelowna. And I'm like, really? Everything possible is getting in the way of seeing this person that sang the soundtrack of my life for so long. Isn't that wild though? Right? But a lot of people, I've heard them say things like, since their parent passed away or this or that, they're like, it's like I'm getting these messages through songs. And I'm like, you gotta trust that. Our intuition and our guides will work through musics, signs, movies, characters. Things that we're drawn to are going to give us the message we're needing. It was that book I talked about, Untamed. It was the messages I was needing at the time. Think about the ones that really hit you in the feels and you're like, it's like this one was written for me. I've had men say this. I remember this one client in particular, and he's like, this one band came out of nowhere. I don't know how I found them, but every song sounds like a message from my dad. Yeah. And I was like, then sit in that.
Yeah, listen to it
don't
repeatedly.
Argue that shit.
Yeah, don't fight with it.
And if it makes you feel a certain way, just own that. Yeah. Be in it, right? So I want you to think about times in your life where you've really identified with. I know a lot of people, you can look at mainstream and be like, how can someone like Taylor Swift hit so many people? But she did. Yeah. And she does it fucking brilliantly, and there is an entire collective. And I think that that's part of the feminine healing that's taking place in this world. And she's a voice of it. And I think maybe Tina Turner was that voice at one point. Yeah. And Michael Jackson was that voice at one point. And, we've got all these different people. Garth Brooks was that voice at one point, or George Strait, things like that. So it's kind of, you look at where you fall in collective movement of our world and our society, right?
Oh, big time. Big time.
We also link music to different stages. So it's funny, I talked about weddings, funerals, things like that. We're so intentional about our song choices. We want it to say all the right things, right? Graduations. So the year I graduated was in 2000, and it was the year that Vitamin C came out with the graduation song, right?
I didn't listen
to
it, but
Graduation,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And we chose not to do it because we figured other schools would pick that, but that song was out that year, so it's very monumental in terms of being that graduation year. And I think they probably use it every year in different places.
For sure they do.
Right? But our class, which is funny because I referenced it last session or last episode, Stand By Me. We chose Stand By Me.
Did you?
Yeah, which was a really neat choosing because our class was so tight and have continued to be tight. Every single person was connected in that class. And I have so much grief around some of the clients I see right now, especially from that same school that really give different experiences around it not being cohesive and a lot of bullying and othering and all of this. And I was like, man, we had such a cohesive class. It was such a beautiful experience that way. I really don't think anyone in the class would have said they didn't feel like they belonged.
Yeah,
which
interesting.
Is profound, right? Yeah. We had a few hundred students. But so that ended up being our song. So again, every time I hear that song, which was not of our generation, it was of my parents' generation.
Yeah, well, that's the 60s.
Yeah. So that was really neat. And also a movie I really appreciated and identified with. So that was very cool. I can think of artists that have made influential impact. So I love some good 90s rap. And Tupac was my gospel, right?
Well, he's so associated with that era, right? You can't escape it.
Did you know his dad was an acupuncturist?
I did not know
stepdad?
that.
Yeah, or his real dad. I thought that was wild too. Michael at Sapien had posted that he did some training with him down in New York or something. And I was like, what? Tupac's dad was an acupuncturist? I think it's dad or stepdad. I'd have to go back and double check that. But, I think back to some of my high school years when we would party and stuff. We listened to a lot of like Eazy-E and like Snoop, and along amongst all those, Eazy-E probably wasn't the greatest for young women to be listening to back then, but it reminds me of an era. It reminds me of a time. It reminds me of the times that somehow we managed to have massive house parties during the course of a Blazers game. And now that I am a parent and I know how long a Blazers game is, I was like, we were impressive. Like, we held full house parties while my friends' parents were at a Blazer game.
And could still get out, clear out, and clean up by the time they got home?
We would call McCracken's and be like, have they left yet? And then we'd be like, clear out! It's like this
That's
ongoing
awesome.
joke now, but like, we managed to nail that every Blazer night.
That's awesome. My hat off to you.
Yeah, right? It was like a 3-hour time span to cram it all in, right? But I think about different like artists, and I remember this one time, so just like how music can hit us. So, I was listening to Avicii. Oh my God. Why can I not think of, the song right now? But it was the song that was literally like a cry for help with his suicide.
Okay.
And I'll reference it later. It'll come to mind. But I remember being so just like hearing this song. I was driving. I heard it. And I was like, oh my God. And I burst out crying. And I felt so much connection in that song. And I was like, ooh. So much that I actually sought him out. I was like, who is this guy? Mm-hmm. And I became like a little obsessed with him. And then I found a documentary on Netflix. And I watched it. And I was fascinated with his life. And I felt so saddened for his pain. There was like this empathic and spiritual attachment there that was like somehow activated in a very weird way. I felt his music, and like I went on this deep dive following him, and then ended up listening to his music quite a bit. My kids link his music with our boating days.
Okay.
A lot of his music is really great for boating, but there was the one song that was released post haste. Is that death? Post haste. Post haste. Is that how they say it? Right.
Yeah.
That was the one that really got me, but all his other ones of course were. But yeah, I was like, man, just appreciating what that guy's talent was and how unfortunately short his life was because of how much he suffered while he was producing such incredible talent.
Well, that's like Kurt Cobain, like the song that they recorded right before he died. You know, you're right.
Yeah.
If you listen to that song now, that's a suicide note.
Right.
And it just hits you. Like you can feel where he was at.
Our era, appreciating Kurt Cobain. I remember another book that we didn't reference last week, is Scar Tissue. That's Anthony Kiedis's memoir or his autobiography. Russell Brand was another guy I was fascinated with reading about him. So I have this fascination of reading about real life. Give me the grit. Yeah. Right. I love that. So yeah, interesting to be able to look behind the scenes at where the music comes from.
Well, yeah. Very few good songs, I think, come from happy places.
Oh,
the best songs come from somewhere, some pain, some loss, some sorting through life.
We talk about that this entire podcast, right? We don't sit here talking about the good shit.
No, because why would you? It would be boring.
We talk about the real stuff, the grit, right? Like, I don't want to just look at the mowed lawn. Tell me how you did it.
Yeah, and how hard was it? Did the lawnmower break down?
Right?
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. So any other songs that are kind of hitting you?
What was one? Because for my marriage, it wasn't our wedding song. Our wedding song was The Book of Love.
Oh, I don't even know that one.
I can't remember the guy's name. Paul something? My wife knows what his name is. Anyways, The Book of Love. But one song that really sticks with me, and I used some of the lyrics in my anniversary post.
Cool.
It's actually a 9 Inch Nails song.
Okay.
Called We're in This Together. And I think I wrote them down, the ones here. You and me, we're in this together now. None of them can stop us now. We will make it through somehow. You and me, if the world should break in two, until the very end of me, until the very end of you. Aww. And that, to me, that's love. That's what love should be, right?
I love that.
Yeah. But it's a 9 Inch Nails song. So it's like a you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not like a lovey song. It's got that real energy vibe
because
to it.
That's where you feel your feels.
Yeah.
That's where it's safe for you to let it out in those ways.
In those ways. Yeah. I'm not a very good, I don't like slow songs. I hate ballads. I hate ballads.
Yeah.
Because most of them are just created to sell
Well,
records.
because I suspect emotion brings out restlessness in you, and you can't release the restlessness. That's like the kid who used to knock on your door and start singing in the morning. Or
yeah.
You're that kid in those moments, so you need heavy metal to hide that.
Yeah, I need that. I need that energy to work it out, right?
So yeah. So on another note, love is making your partner a customized song. Kevin did that for me last year.
Did he really?
Yeah, he wrote us a song.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and actually like got it made and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So we have our own song. It's on Spotify, guys.
What's it called?
He actually got it on Spotify. I don't know if I want to tell him.
Because it's not your song. I'm putting all these songs we're mentioning on a playlist, the Into Greatness playlist, right?
We might add that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I want to release it. It just is such an intimate gift to me.
Oh, for sure, right?
Do you know what I mean?
I do. Oh, yeah. That's a very personal thing.
Yeah, you could probably find it on there if you Googled specific things. My name might be in it. Yeah, so funny. But yeah, it was very sweet. He referenced like where we went on our first date. He even put my dog in there and talking about my dad. And like there's just this, it's like this beautiful appreciation of all of those little things made into like a country-ish song.
That's really cool.
It's really sweet. Yeah.
That's really cool. I could not do that. I could like film a film. I could do, you know what I mean? But I couldn't write a song.
Yeah.
It'd
Well,
really
I mean,
hard.
he kind of just like put it all together. It's like a poem. You rhyme it all and stuff. He didn't write the music to it. He let like whoever, I don't know. There's like a little songwriting thing you can.
Oh yeah, there's lots of that kind of stuff.
Lots of
out
those
there.
people, right? Just doing it in their basement. So, anyways, if you're looking for some good Christmas gift ideas, write your lover a song.
There you go.
Right?
Or make them a movie.
Right.
Right.
You could totally do that for Jess. You could be like, I leave the dry towel on the I refill your Keurig machine. Right?
something.
I keep my cigar outside by the fire. So that
I do, so you don't have to smell it,
so
right?
you don't have to smell me.
That was kind of funny when we went out and looked at the Northern Lights last night.
Fuck you, man.
I was actually smoking my cigar while we were
Kevin
doing
messaged
that.
me. He's like, go outside. Jason can see the Northern Lights. I'm like, me and the kids are outside. We can't see shit. Jason only lives like 3 blocks from me. This isn't fair.
Did you turn all your lights off?
Yes.
You still
But
couldn't
I
see
have
him.
so much light pollution from the airport.
Oh, yeah.
That I wonder, and my neighbors have a ton of lights. Turn your fucking lights off, neighbors. I'm just kidding. Around their pool and stuff. But I did. I turned mine off. But I'm so close to the mountain, Jay. I can't see up and over them the way you can. You're about 2 blocks back.
Yeah, and you're that 1 or 2 blocks forward.
Were you looking that way?
Yeah. It's like no one can see this, but looking north.
We're looking north. Yeah, my kids are like, this is bullshit. And I was like, I feel like everybody gets them but me. It's like there's this vortex around Jolene's house to be like, oh, don't shine it there. Fuck. You know how many times they have been out? This is the best year for the Northern Lights activity.
Ever.
And everywhere I have been, I have not seen them because they've been in a different town while I've been over here or there. Or they're literally in everyone else's backyard but mine. It's so messed up, guys. If you guys know how to break into this part of the Matrix and fix it, fucking do it. I'm all revved up.
I could tell.
Yeah. So anyways.
Would be a song to calm me down.
Sorry to interrupt. When you were in your backyard watching the Northern Lights.
Well, yeah, I was smoking my cigar. Of course, the smoke kept getting all over Jess, and
Yeah.
they hated that. But I was just like, so I had to stand over in a corner and
Yeah.
finish smoking it. That it's really an aside.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
That's like a Rick James. He's like, fuck your couch.
Fuck your couch. I'm Rick James, bitch. The baddest, best looking motherfucker that ever lived. Anyways,
There we go.
that was our music episode.
These are all things. I have a funny story with my brother-in-law about that. Him and I joke about Rick James all the time, right? Sprawling on the couch. Like, I'll do that if I go to their... Well, and I used to go to their house. Like, fuck your couch.
Your couch. I'm Rick James.
Anyways.
He kept a sex slave, him and his wife. Eh?
Did he?
Oh, yeah, he's a very bad man.
Wow.
Very bad man.
Did they like it or not?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh,
not
sorry.
good.
Fuck you, Rick James. Fuck
Right?
your couch.
Fuck your couch.
Anyways, guys.
That was our music episode.
We're done. and think about what our music intro and exit music does for you, right?
Yeah.
Your buddy made that up.
My
for
buddy
us.
Sean from Badman Incorporated, he doesn't just like crank it out. He puts thought into it.
Yeah, he totally did.
Because he's like, this is a mental health show, so it can't be like metal. Because the average person will not relate to that.
Yeah,
So
totally.
he put a lot of thought into both the inside and out.
Couldn't be ballady, but
Couldn't be ballady.
I feel like he did well.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
Really good job.
There we go.
All right. And actually, a lot of the songs, like I said, that we mentioned, there's going to be an Into Greatness playlist on Spotify, which I will link in the show notes.
Yes, and I do that with my clients. We have an out-of-office therapy playlist that people have added to and stuff because, yes, music heals. Let's share the healing.
Exactly. And it's good. I'll put other songs on there
Share
that
the
we
feeling.
share the feelings, share the
Yeah.
healing.
Yep.
They'll put other songs on that will say relate that we didn't talk about, but I think
Totally.
we're just working, maybe make you feel good or not.
Working 9 to 5. I wish it was like 10 to 4 or something, 10 to 2.
10 to 2 would be brilliant, right? Instead of like 7 to 5, which I've been working lately. It sucks. Anyways, until next week, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jolene.
Enjoy the music.
Bye-bye.